Hello and welcome to Team Field of View Podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Pearson, and that was Lucy.
Yeah, she's gone.
Yep. And all she left is fur.
Yep, lots of fur.
She's good at that.
Oh well.
So we're going to talk about video games.
Yep.
Yay.
I like video games.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So, got some things to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Switch, of course, because we can't shut up about it, apparently.
I mean,
There's always something interesting coming in.
Yeah, there's always news. And we're going to talk about VR and also some games, maybe a little bit of announcement surprises, come out in the last week or so.
Announcements.
Yeah, announcements of announcements, basically. So,
announcements.
all right, so let's get started.
All right. Well, our first topic is Nintendo's president sort of announced the price for the online for the Nintendo Switch at about $17.50, $26.50 a year.
Yeah, so it was 2,000 to 3,000 yen was the quote, which if you
That's fair.
translate that. So this was on Nintendo's conference call, their financial briefing, basically. So this is always good information because it's not a press release to consumers, but it's free information and then it gets spread around. So it's they have to pretty much tell the truth in these meetings. So it's not this isn't one of those where they're kind of hiding something. It's no, this is probably what we expect it to be.
This amount, and
Right.
then they charge twice as much.
Yeah. So yeah, let's dig into that number a little bit. Switch Online. We didn't know what to expect. We just found out 3 weeks ago that Switch has paid online, which sucks.
Yeah.
But we didn't know if it's going to be $60 like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold. We knew that it didn't include a lot. We still don't know all of what it includes. We know that the games that they offer for free are rentals,
Yeah.
kind of.
But
It's I'll try this game out and then buy it for full price.
I mean, it's not that expensive.
yeah, I mean,
Even if we go to the high end of that and it's $24 a year, that's $2 a month.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's only $1.50 to $2
Yeah.
a month.
I mean, I still look at that as, you could buy 1 or 2 indie games with that a year.
I guess. But
I love indie games.
I mean,
I know you love indie games.
it really just comes down to what they actually give you.
Yeah.
I mean, just for online play and
You love
some
buying indie games.
I buy more than I play, but I still play it quite a bit. So, I have a sickness of buying too many games, for people that don't know. So, my backlog is longer than my life will allow. So, I've kind of come to grips with that I have more games that I will ever play. But,
and you're still buying them.
yeah,
So yeah. But yeah, I mean,
it's a sickness.
for what they announced, you get a demo of a virtual game for a month. It's a lease,
okay,
maybe.
but it's not just a virtual console game. They specifically said an NES or Super NES game.
Oh, okay.
So it's there are N64 games on the virtual console. There's rumored to be GameCube games on the virtual console. There's Sega Genesis games and all these other systems, and they're only limiting it to those 2 systems, which I think after a while you're going to run out of really good classic games
Yeah.
that I'll want to play, or I'll be yes, this game I can play this for a month. And I get that. It's I'm going to get tired of it after a month. I can burn out on an NES game after a month. They're not exactly the longest games for the most part. So
maybe that's what it is. It's you're going to play it for a month. And if you really love it, you'll buy it. But you'll probably be done playing it for a while anyway.
I would almost rather this cost more and then give me a Netflix-like subscription to the virtual console.
Just a whole library of games and you get to pick and
Maybe
choose.
not even the whole library. Maybe
More PlayStation Plus, where they give you a game or 2.
that, or even if it was not just the one game for a month, but we're going to cycle through and there's going to be 10 games a month that you can play, and then I've got variety. And so if I get to a game and it's well, this month I don't even care about that, or I already own that, or I don't want to play that. It's if I already bought that game on virtual console, then it's free for a month. That doesn't help me.
No. But yeah, I can see that. You have a gallery of 10 games.
I would prefer that, even if it costs a little more. Because I like virtual console, and I think that the Switch is a really cool device for Virtual Console because it's more powerful than the 3DS, and
Right.
Virtual Console being portable feels good to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not playing Super Mario Brothers on a 4K TV. I don't really like, that's not going to do too much for me. But on a handheld with, decent controllers, which that's another thing I might be worried about because the left Joy-Con on the Switch has the separated buttons instead of a D-pad.
Right.
And I'm worried that some of these classic games will not feel so good.
No, I could see that.
So it's like, then I'm going to have to buy a $70 Pro controller. They need to release Joy-Cons that have other buttons.
Oh yeah, just like how they released classic controller.
Yeah.
Pro
Like,
controller. I guess I got that.
Yeah, if they're gonna do GameCube games, they need to release GameCube Joy-Cons and
Just switch them out.
Doing that classic indigo purple color, whatever they called it, and with the analog triggers and the C stick, and just go all out, make it look like I'm holding, two halves of a.
I think that's one of the concepts some guy on like Reddit made.
Yeah.
It was like a Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
And just like whatever, like all their other consoles, just put random.
Yeah.
Just whatever
Game
you
Boy
like.
Advance,
Or like
something like that. Just
there's-
you can slide in, like you can switch it up.
right. Switch
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yes. Perfect.
No.
All right.
So yeah, I would like to see more announcements before this thing comes out. I'm buying it. I'm locked in. Pre-orders done. Amazon shipping it. Whatever.
Nothing that they can do to make you turn back.
I don't know if there is much besides actual like the company's going out of business or something. I mean, they can't
The
unannounce
Switch
games.
is
They
made
can
of
delay
paper
games.
and falls
but,
apart in your hands.
This thing's not going to be cheaper in the next year. Nintendo systems. The only one that really went down was the 3DS, but that was just
The special black, whatever it was.
no. The 3DS they released it too high of a price. It was $250, and then a couple months later, like 4 or 5 months later, they lowered the price by a lot. It went from $250 to $170, and because no one was buying it, they're not going to have that problem with this Switch because pre-orders are already sold out.
Yeah.
Right.
Which that wasn't the case really for the 3DS because I remember I worked retail when the 3DS came out and our case was full of them.
Yeah.
And then they said they're going to have 2 million in the first month is their expected, and they're forecasting based on current pre-orders that they should sell around 5 or 6 million by the end of the year.
Yeah, I could see that.
So
You got all the pre-order or the more orders once it comes out, and then you got the holiday season.
So I don't see them lowering the price in this, and I gotta play Mario Odyssey, and I don't think this system will be cheaper between now and then, so I might as well buy it now and play Zelda.
They might though for like the holiday season actually bundle a game with it. It's
Okay, what?
It's not,
Bundle what? 1-2 Switch or?
well, no. Now there's actually Mario is supposed to
Arms.
come out, so there actually will be more games by the holiday season.
So that's another thing I want to talk about with the Switch that we don't really know about is like there are so many games that have been announced and they were announced a month ago, and this system comes out in less than a month now. We're in the second week of February right now, and
yeah, it's getting closer.
yeah, we are less than a month away, and there are games that are scheduled to come out in the launch month, March, that don't have a date to be announced March. It's
March sometime.
It's almost like Nintendo didn't give them dev kits early enough, and so there's something. It's like their game's been done on these other systems. They're just like finishing up ports, but they're rushing to get this game done because why else would it be so close to launch and we don't know these exact dates? We still don't know launch date exactly. There might be a couple more games trickle in just this week. Like 4 more games got announced to be coming out launch day, and there were ports of very old indie games from like 2008 and around that time. We have
like World of Goo,
A Little Inferno, some other ones like that.
Okay.
So,
yeah, just like the basic indie games, kind of just like, oh, here's some filler content.
Like early gen humble bundle games, pretty much. Like games you got for $1 already.
You can easily put on the Switch.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't blame them for porting games. I think the more games on that system at launch, you got a pretty good chance that someone's going to want to buy a game for that system, and they're gonna be like, well, what do I got my options, and they can pick up some extra sales. I think they'll do well because it's not too crowded of a launch lineup.
That's definitely a good idea for the devs.
Yeah, But it's still scary that just happened in the last week that we found out more games are coming launch. It's like, launch is just like 3 weeks away. What the heck?
Who was it? The devs who announced this, or Nintendo?
I don't remember.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's a.
it's not a good place to be.
Yeah, I mean, unlike you, I'm definitely not ordering a Switch.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, because I mean, the game library is a little small. But if they actually did have like a gallery of games you could pick each month,
Yeah.
it's definitely a much better like driving force for me actually buying it.
Yeah.
Because I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Just like you can just turn it on and you're like, oh, you got 10 games to pick it through.
Yeah. Always something
Yeah.
to play. That's what I want with the online.
That should be their slogan. Always something to play.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That's not gonna happen.
I mean,
No.
you remember their last Wii U slogan?
No.
It was like there was these two guys that drove around a little smart car around Japan or America, I don't know, and they would walk up to someone's door, ring the doorbell, and then offer them the controller and say,
Oh yeah.
"We would like to play," or was that the Wii one? But I think it was the Wii U. I don't know. It's just like their marketing has not always been the most Western focused, or their slogans and stuff. I mean, Wii U was a weird name.
Understandably.
Wii was a weird name.
Who does love puns?
Yeah, but I would say that like you can look at their launch lineup and you can think what you want about the games coming out and how maybe sparse or unannounced it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at a lot of those things like the online and things we don't know, and that's scary. But
Right.
you look at their marketing materials, their branding, it's on point. It's amazing. You look at that red and white logo, looks great. The box arts look great. They're doing. Who have you seen the new boxes?
I don't think so.
So,
I've
they-
seen a bunch.
They're skinny and long. They kind of look like PSP boxes, because they're game carts. They're not discs, so they're not going to be the full size
Oh,
of
okay,
a
the
Blu-ray.
actual games.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's just like SD.
right.
Pretty much
So
SD shape.
so they're about this big, and you open them up, and on the inside, printed under the plastic, is like game art and stuff like that, which looks really good. I love that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Is it like just something
most-
you take out?
most of it. Well, I think it's on the other side of the box
Like
art
it's that
cover.
paper leaflet thing?
I think so.
Sweet. So,
So-
you get like little art. That's nice.
Yeah, it's like just little touches like that. Like somebody showed off I think it was the Legend of Zelda one, and it looks really good. And it's just negative space in there because the game cart's so tiny, and then you got this big box. So that looks great. The first commercial, the reveal of the Switch was great. It wasn't too long, wasn't too short. Gave us a good look at the system and kind of this is the concept. You put it in, you take it out, you play with your friends. Like that was great. It was 3 minutes or whatever, and didn't overstay its welcome. It's like that kind of stuff they've been doing has been perfect.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, and that's been better than any Nintendo system that I can remember. And since I've been the point where I'm buying Nintendo hardware and paying attention to marketing and stuff. Because when I was a kid, I was like,
yeah.
just playing whatever my friends had. but
Mario.
I didn't really know about the commercials and stuff and their advertising stuff. So
Nintendo was learning.
Hopefully.
yeah, I hope.
No, they're not learning. They're
I'm not saying they're retaining. I'm just saying they're learning.
maybe Nintendo America is actually learning. Nintendo Japan might still be the actual developers of the console. They're still a little behind.
Yeah, so I think the main reason people are buying the system and the pre-orders are sold out when they weren't necessarily for the Wii U is that initial trailer. Really, it's if you look at like the amount of YouTube videos
Right.
or views on that first trailer versus the Wii U announcement and stuff, it's
You're talking about the one where it's like a guy's walking his dog?
yeah.
Because, I mean, it looked pretty good, but I heard a lot of negative on that too.
Well, there's negative because people are saying this is a portable system that you can play at home, so it's not going to be very powerful.
Well, not just that. It was just the commercial almost seemed kind of odd. It was like, oh, well, you can take your dog out to walk or and totally just ignore it by playing the game. And you can be that weird person who goes to a party and just like...
And the funny thing about that, the funny thing about that video is in that beginning, he's playing Zelda in the dark, and you assume it's like late at night.
Yeah.
And then the dog comes up to him, and he's like, "Let's go for a walk." And then he goes out. And it's morning, so he's like, "No, this guy was playing Zelda all night long."
Yeah, that's... Now that you think
could
about
not
that...
put it
really
down.
good curtains.
Yes. So
Yeah, but no, it was a little... It could be like, you can nitpick it, but
yeah,
it got the point across.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you can play on TV, take it out, whatever.
yeah. I just think that it was a much clearer here's what this system is and what it does. Even though there's so much we don't know about it, you look at the Wii U and that branding was terrible. It's like, oh, it's the same name as the old system, just with the letter on the end, and you can use your old controllers with it and play the old games on it. And
yeah, it was like, oh, buy a gamepad.
Yeah, they were showing the gamepad, not the actual console.
Yeah.
And so I think that their branding is so good going into this one. I'm not 100% like, yeah, this system is great yet until I actually play it, but I'm enough to buy it for $300 and be there for
Yeah, it's
Zelda.
also more impressions. They had some kind of event, Nintendo event somewhere, and like a bunch of people went. It looked pretty sweet.
Yep.
So,
all right, so
we'll see.
Yeah, now let's talk about some not so good Switch news. I guess maybe the other one was that good news. Was the Switch Online being less than $30 a year good news or bad news?
It was okay news. No, it's pretty good. I mean, it's only.
It could be worse.
It's
That's
only,
how
yeah,
I'm feeling.
It was only $1.50 at the lowest, maybe $2.50 a month. So it's not. It makes sense.
I always felt like Nintendo charges a premium price for a lot of their services and products, even when it doesn't always justify it. But I guess it justifies it, but not compared to other companies and other games. Like, I'm the type that likes to buy a lot of games for really cheap, and Nintendo games just keep their price, and it sucks. Like, if you want that Zelda game, you're probably never going to find it for less than maybe $40 at the lowest, and then it'll go out of print or something like that. Because that's what happened with, I think, Skyward Sword. I was like, I'll just wait for it to go cheap. Never went cheap. And now it's...
They stopped making it?
Well, I think you can still find it for like $60, and this game came out
Can you buy it digitally?
ago. I think it was like 2012 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can buy it digitally.
Oh, that's a bummer.
2011?
I don't know. But the eBay, it's going for like $80 or something like that.
Yeah, so
I might
if
be
you wanna
wrong on
sell
that,
it,
but
you're good.
it's like their stuff just keeps its price. I remember even after the Wii came out, and I was looking for GameCube games because I was wanting to just complete my library on some things, and I stopped completing my library because these like launch GameCube games you could not find for less money.
Wow.
So I think that like I expected it to be higher, so I think it's good news. I don't know if it's good enough to make me want to buy that online, because the only game that I'm really going to want to play online if I buy it, which I don't know if I will, would be Splatoon 2.
Never played it.
Yeah, I've never played it either, but watching the previews, it's like, oh, that actually looks like a fun game to me, because it's a shooter, but it's not a shooter.
Yeah.
And you're just painting stuff.
It seems
It
like
looks fun.
there was a lot of hype for the first one, so...
Yeah, and a lot of
Should be
people,
good.
a lot of positive stuff about the first one. It kind of was like a sleeper hit, I guess, for them. You know, that didn't
Yeah, I'd
sell
say
well,
that,
but
yeah.
it was a good game. So that's a game I would play, and if I got it, I'd obviously want to play it online. But I don't know if it's like I'm gonna have to pay $60 for this game because it never goes on sale,
Yeah.
and I'm going to have to spend $30 just to play it online, and then the only other game I'd play online maybe is Mario Kart Deluxe.
There's no, like...
That's the bundle for the holiday season.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another thing. I just want to touch on this real quick.
What's that?
So, no,
What?
Mario Kart Deluxe, ARMS, and Splatoon 2.
Is that what it actually called? ARMS?
ARMS.
Oh.
Yeah.
The boxing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
springy arm thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arms.
Those, okay, two of them are, well, Splatoon 2 is a new game. I'll give them that. It's
It's a sequel, but it's a new game.
New?
I didn't play enough of the first one to make a distinction of if it's
new to
new
you.
enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There are new maps, there are new modes, there are new... So I guess it's new enough that they're calling it Splatoon 2. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a port.
Yeah, that's true.
With a little bit of DLC.
And Splatoon 2, ARMS, and...
1-2 Switch.
Well, not 1-2 Switch. The other one I just mentioned, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah.
As far as I know, do not have firm release dates.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
They have release months or like quarter this
Suggestions.
or
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, Mario Kart 8
They're
should
more
be
like
a release title.
guidelines.
Yeah, I think ARMS they just said April, the
Jeez.
month after it comes out. It's like
Yeah,
if your game
that
is
sounds right.
2 months away, which it is now, we need to know when it's coming out. That's scary. It makes me kind of like thinking that there's something we don't know that may be wrong. I hope not. So, we'll see. So yeah, so we talked about that, which is kind of good news.
Yeah.
Kind of bad news.
I mean, they should have put Mario Kart 8 out with the console. 'Cause, I mean, that's definitely going to drive more controller sales.
Yeah, I didn't buy Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U, but seeing it with the new battle mode on the Switch, that looks fun.
So they added more.
They added more.
Okay.
There's
balloon battle.
So
yeah,
it's
there's new modes.
It's
There's
a little
new,
bit more than a port.
They took all the DLC
It's a
characters
port
and
plus
added
DLC.
it. Yeah.
Oh, it's just DLC?
No, they added some new
Oh,
content.
okay,
There is
good.
some new content, and it runs at 1080p, 60 frames per second. So, which the Wii U version did not. So I would say that I wasn't excited for Mario Kart 8, but now that it's all in one package and improved, watching the previews is like, yeah, I could get into that game. I haven't played a Mario Kart game like seriously since I think Mario Kart DS. I skipped Mario Kart 7.
I think the original one was the last time I played. It was
Like
just
the Super Nintendo one?
Yeah, it was like
Yes.
the small little tracks
Yeah.
in Rainbow Road.
My controversial gaming
that was the first
opinion is that one is better than Mario Kart 64, which is the one everybody loves. I had more fun with the Super Nintendo one.
That's what they're going to put. Virtual console.
Yeah.
Just the old Mario Kart games.
If they added, well, they did say those virtual console games, they might add features to like multiplayer.
Oh,
So-
yeah, okay.
If they added online multiplayer to Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart,
That'd actually pretty awesome.
oh, I have to get that.
Oh man, I mean that sounds.
But even
pretty
then,
good.
I don't care if it's in the online. If they do that for the virtual console, I just buy money for that because I'm always going to want that. I'm not going to want that for a month. So I guess in the end, it doesn't affect my purchase of the online.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you're just.
There's not one single game that they could put up that makes me say, "Oh, I got to have that for a month," you know?
One single game.
Yeah. So, all right. So that was the kind of good news.
Yep.
That it's not as much as we thought it was.
Better than most of the news they put out.
Yeah. So the more kind of worrisome news. This when I
can
read
be.
this, I was like, please no Nintendo. Why? So this was in that same conference call that they had with their investors, and the president of Nintendo said that he was alluding to the 3DS and saying, you know, we're going to continue to support it, which they've been saying in all of their their marketing. Well, not marketing, but in their PR statements. Think people like Reggie have been saying that, and other people as well. And it makes sense because you don't want to just be like, and they just released new versions of the 3DS, so you don't want to just stop making games for it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want to.
Pokemon's like the biggest game, and it's only on that.
Pokemon broke records.
Yeah.
Sun and Moon is the fastest selling Pokemon game ever, I think. Don't
Yeah, it
quote me
sounds
on that,
right, but yeah, I mean, you can't just stop that. I mean, it's such a huge part of your business.
yeah.
Matt making sweeping statements.
No, I think I read an article that says that.
I would believe it.
Yeah.
Pokemon games,
It sold a lot.
everyone loves them.
I was part of it. I bought both.
Because you're.
Oh wow, both of them.
Yeah. I bought Sun and Moon. I've only played half of Sun, so I'll get to Moon eventually one day.
But you didn't get your steel case.
No, I don't want to talk about that. Stupid limited editions. All right. So he was alluding to the 3DS, and he was originally translated because obviously the call's in Japanese, and
Yeah.
it was translated, and it kind of made it seem like we are considering making a successor system to the 3DS. And when I read that, my heart sank because I've said this before on one of these podcasts. I'm treating the Switch as a handheld system, and I am extremely excited for it being a handheld system that I can also plug into my TV. Some people are treating it as a console system they can take with them. I think that looking at it from a handheld perspective, it's more enticing. If you look at it from a console perspective, it's what does it do that the Wii U doesn't?
Does Wii U do 1080p?
On some games.
Some games. So, I mean, there is that.
It leaves the house.
Right, but from a console perspective, like it being a
from the console
console, if you
perspective?
never use it as a handheld, what does it do? I'm saying like if you never use it as a console, it's a great handheld. But if you never use it as a handheld, it's probably not that great of a console.
Well, I can tell you it doesn't do Netflix.
Yeah.
So, as a console, that's definitely negative for now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking like it doesn't break barriers. There are things that it has that the Wii U didn't have, like HD Rumble or more accurate detecting or the IR camera,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, there's some gimmicks, but overall,
it's
just
slightly more powerful
Yeah.
than the Wii U.
It's just Wii U 2
Right.
as a console.
It's Wii U Plus.
Yeah, Wii U Plus.
You.
So, so it being a 3DS, there being a 3DS successor scares me, because going into this, I was under the assumption that after like a year or two, and the 3DS games stopped being developed,
Right.
which it looked like they were slowing down.
Right.
I mean, you've got announced there's I think there's a Fire Emblem game, and there is
Well, yeah, there's Fire Emblem Mobile. Is that what you're talking about?
I think there was a game announced for the 3DS. I might be wrong on that.
3DS.
I think there's a remake of one of the games that was only released in Japan.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, and then there was the Pikmin side-scrolling game, which looks like something I would enjoy.
You're right.
I wouldn't mind seeing that ported to the Switch, though.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. But there hasn't been a lot going forward that we know about in compared to the past. The 3DS has always had this great lineup of games coming, and now it's slowing down. And so I expected it to go away, and then all the developers making games for the 3DS are going to say, "Hey,
Here's our new Switch game.
yeah, here's our new Switch game, and
Yeah,
now we have all this power to work with, and screen resolution, and better controls." And it's like, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see where these games will go on an HD console, like knowing that the next mainline Pokemon game will be in HD.
That'd be impressive.
Yeah, because like the 3DS is a weak system.
Yeah, it's like a...
The 3DS was weak
pixel art
in
still.
2012 when it came out. In my opinion. And yeah, the screens are just terrible resolution, and the processing power is low. Even the new 3DS, which has like almost twice the CPU power, is still like
Not great.
It's like a TI calculator.
yeah. I mean, I don't play that much on my Vita, but when I do, it's a much better experience visually.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the Vita was a great console, or handheld.
It's so sad.
But it didn't work.
Yeah, poor Sony.
People
they
just
tried.
didn't buy it. But yeah, I mean, even like you would think, like they put out the Switch, like HD, you got a great screen, and then they started to make like they're starting to put games on like iPhones, Android. So you think like, does the 3DS still have a market? Like, I mean, they're splitting it up so much.
Right. So how I see it is, I'm buying the Switch as a handheld. If Nintendo brings out a successor to the 3DS, it seems to me like Nintendo is competing with itself for my business,
Yeah.
and they're gonna lose because it's gonna make me not want to buy a lot of
those.
right. Although I probably will buy. Both.
I mean, what are they just
you
gonna?
will. We know you will.
I know.
Are they just gonna make the same thing? Is it still gonna be like a very low res screen and like the games are?
Okay, so I want to clarify on this. So then another translation of this quote came out, and it was kind of saying that they're treating the 3DS now as its own. I don't know how to read this quote, but basically they're saying the 3DS is a good complementary system, and they always want to have something like that or that in the market for parents and to buy their kids, something that's not as expensive. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw
Something for younger kids.
a Switch Lite. No, stay with me.
Okay.
No, I can see that.
A Switch that the Joy-Cons don't detach, and
So a mobile phone with gamepad.
it's like a mobile gamepad basically.
Okay.
You know, it's a smaller, maybe like a 4.5-inch screen, controls on the side, single 16:9 touchscreen. With gyroscope, but no detachable control. They might do. They can't make those controllers smaller though.
Now I think I think it'd be better if they left them attached so kids don't lose them.
That's the thing I think they might come out with a version of that for $199 or something like that. I could see them doing that. They've done stuff like that in the past. Usually they go bigger, but they've also gone smaller in a couple of things. DS Lite, Game Boy Micro for the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
It was a little baby thing.
Yeah, it's like it was.
yeah.
It was like a Tamagotchi for.
Are you still connecting your Switch Lite to the television?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It might have just it's gonna have a USB-C port, so maybe it'll be USB to HDMI.
That'd be nice.
But only with a separate controller.
And you could use a Pro controller, or buy separate Joy-Cons to connect to it. Obviously, this is complete speculation, but
I thought the way you synced the Joy-Cons was by attaching them. So if you can't attach the ones,
I don't know. I'm just speculating.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
They
just
could,
trying to
they
give
could come
you
up with some
things
kind of
to do.
solution.
Okay.
Or, I mean, another thing is, do they even have to release another 3DS? Like, what about, I mean, if that's what they want, I mean, it's
Just
already...
do a better 3DS.
No, they don't even have to, like, make another 3DS. They can just keep selling the one they have.
Yeah,
If
and
they-
I think they will.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason to upgrade it.
But they were kind of. It seemed like they,
No,
if
no,
they
no.
would have a successor, it would be they were alluding to a new portable handheld only device.
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, but, like...
I think if they don't do a Switch Lite and they do want to come out with a new system, I'm gonna be mad if there is a dual screen game system from Nintendo that only has games specifically for it. Because why did I buy the Switch? I'm not buying the Switch because I loved my Wii U. Although there are some games that I definitely want to do it. It's like I'm mainly excited. I am ready to give Nintendo my money for this being a powerful handheld, but instead we'll just be getting games that look marginally better than the Wii U for another 4 or 5 years, which is sad because it's like the Wii U wasn't powerful when it came out, and now we're getting a little bit better than that. So yeah, if you're a console only player, the Wii or the Switch sucks. But as a handheld player, the jump from 3DS to Switch is like,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like...
it's as big of a generation from like
It's-
PS2 to PS3.
Yeah, it's a huge difference
All right.
for, like,
so
all the games.
we come out with a successor to the 3DS. It uses the same carts as the Switch. Nintendo Online gives you cloud saving.
But if the
Would you use the Switch as a home console?
I would still use the Switch as my portable because it's bigger and I have big
Right.
hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'd be more comfortable.
I'm gonna get
How
whichever
about,
device
how about
has.
for parents, where they have their kids play their game, whatever, on the go? When the kid gets home, they can plug it into the Switch that's at home.
Well, yeah, I think if there was a Switch Lite, it would be the same games for
Okay.
both systems.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
even if they... I mean, kids nowadays walk around with tablets. So giving them, like,
Yeah.
a large, like, 3D
I think it's the
Switch,
price.
I
It's
think
only...
it's the price too.
Yeah, but it's only $100 more.
Okay, it could be
People walk around with
160
iPads
for a
that are, like,
Switch Lite.
$700.
No, but you look at the 3DS came out, it's $249, didn't sell. They had to lower the price because mainly their target demographic at that, going into that holiday season, which they weren't quite at when they lowered the price, but I think they were forecasting this isn't going to go well. I mean, they didn't brand it well because it's DS to 3DS doesn't really like make you think brand new system, brand new games. When you had DS to DSi to DS Lite, or all those different versions, it's like it wasn't good branding, and then the system comes out and it's too expensive. So I think price is the primary component. You look at like PS4 sales, blah 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 blah, $399, $299, and then $249 Black Friday. Those sales are, it's like all these people were, what were they waiting for? They were waiting for price. I think price is a huge factor.
No, price is definitely a huge factor.
I don't think a lot of parents buy their kid an iPad. They have their own iPad they give their kid when it has a giant OtterBox
Probably.
on it. But like, I think that they still that sub $200 price point is prime for getting your kid this system for Christmas. $300 plus the games and a carrying case because it's large. That's getting into the they're gonna have to chip in some of their own money for that. For
Or
a lot of
have
parents.
to collaborate with other grandparents.
It
or
becomes
something to get that
prohibitively expensive, I think, for a lot of families, especially in the current economy. So
Okay. Well, I mean, like a 3DS compared to the Switch, it's kind of lackluster. So like,
yeah, but
when
I
it
bought a
came-
3DS this Black Friday for $99.
No, that's good. But I mean, like at $249, I can totally understand that. Like $249 for a 3DS, that
Yeah.
just seems like outrageous.
Right, when the DS was $129, I think at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think 300. I mean, 300. It can be a lot of money, but for for the console and a portable, it seems pretty good. I mean, you're pretty much getting a tablet. So, yeah.
But you're not getting a tablet.
Well, it's practically a tablet.
Yeah, but
I
it
mean,
can't do tablet things.
We don't know that.
We know a lot of what it can't do.
And it's not.
We don't know a lot of
For
things.
most people, the Switch isn't going to be their primary console anyway.
I hope not. Poor them.
Yeah.
Well, don't people have Wii's for the primary console now?
No.
Why wouldn't a Switch be a primary console? Some people
No,
only own
some people will.
Because there's too many games on Xbox and PS4.
There's a lot of people who only own a Wii. There has to be.
There is.
Yeah.
Technically, my mom is a person who only owns a Wii.
Yeah.
But she probably hasn't touched it in a very long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the target demographic that actually buys games on a regular basis.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I mean, if
what,
you're...
us?
The people who pre-order the
Not
Switch...
even us. There's people that only buy Madden every year, but they buy a system for Madden.
Well,
And it's like, right, but what system runs Madden the best? What system are all my friends playing Madden on? Like, all that stuff factors in.
Right.
And so it's like people buying the Switch as their only console because they want to play Mario. That can happen. Or Zelda. You know?
Yeah,
I don't
there's
care
those
about
diehard
anything but
fans
Zelda.
that
Yeah.
only play all the Zeldas, Marios, and that's it.
Yeah. So,
For people who are fans of specific
Exactly.
IPs or companies, yes. For a more generalist game player, it's not going to be the primary console.
yeah. But I think my thoughts, just summarized, is I will be upset if they come out with a 3DS successor. I'll still buy it, but I'm sad because thinking about like Animal Crossing, I would love to see an Animal Crossing game on the Switch instead of a 3DS successor. I want it to be HD,
Right.
great. Also mobile. It makes sense. Like,
Yeah, I mean, that's a great mobile game.
the Switch being mobile, if there is a mobile handheld, defeats the purpose of the Switch being mobile, and I would have rather had a more powerful Nintendo console for $300. Because a lot of that $300 is going into it having the dock that they're charging $90 for, it having a battery.
That's accessory inflation, and you know it.
If they just spent, if they made a console that cost $300, because the PS4 and Xbox One cost $300, and they go cheaper on Black Friday and stuff like they did.
Yep.
So if they had taken their $300 and made a system that was powerful, that ran Zelda at a higher res or better textures or whatever you want to say, then I would be more okay if it was that and a 3DS successor. But since they said, hey, we are sacrificing power to make this thing mobile,
Yeah.
but I'm like, okay, if this is the mobile system, but if you come out with another mobile system, I am upset.
Well, on another note, Reggie did come out saying that you're going to need your phone and the Switch to do, like, matchmaking stuff.
Yeah.
So why not just put another thing in there? Just
Yeah.
carry on 3 different things.
Yeah.
For whatever you want to do. You want to talk on the phone, you have that. Play Animal Crossing on one.
Yeah,
Mario on the other.
I think that once we see the actual how that matchmaking and voice chat works,
Yeah.
I think there's stuff we don't know about it.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff we don't know.
I think that they're hiding some things and not explaining it well. I think people are, and us
Hiding?
included,
They're
I think
just
that we are coming up with the wrong conclusion based on the improperly or the wrong information they're giving us. Like,
Yeah,
they're doing a bad job, but I think that we are also badly interpreting what they're saying. I hope.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's their fault.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's not our fault.
we can guess all day
Yeah,
and
this-
guess it all
As
wrong.
consumers,
so-
we're never wrong. The
Yeah.
consumer, it's like it's your job, Nintendo, as the person making this system, to make the consumer excited, and if they are disappointed, it is your fault. It's not like, oh, you guys don't understand. It's like, no, because you didn't make us understand.
Okay, so their job is to make us excited. But if they make us too excited, then we'll be disappointed in them. But if they don't make us excited enough,
should just
we
make
will
us
also
excited.
be disappointed in
Well,
them.
Good news.
Maybe that's what they're trying to do. They release like little bits of information. They're like, oh, this didn't work out. Let's change it. This didn't work out. Or that was positive. Let's
Yeah,
keep that.
I mean, you look at Xbox. Xbox One's coming out. Microsoft, they have their big E3 thing. Is like, oh, you can't share games, and
You're always online.
you have to be you have to log in every 24 hours, and you can only activate this one game on so many systems.
Oh, yeah. And then Sony comes out on their E3.
Yeah,
And then just like,
yeah, and so Microsoft says, whoa, we hear you. We're going back. We're changing it, and then Xbox One comes out, has nothing like that. It's just like a PS4 in terms of it, or just like an Xbox 360 in terms of its game sharing. So that can happen. Companies can change. Nintendo doesn't change very often. And when the Switch was announced, it was like, hey, maybe Nintendo's changing. Look, they're doing
Now-
something different. But now, I don't know.
the same old stubborn Nintendo.
We'll see.
Nintendo, new products, same mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't. Yeah, they're pretty hard headed. They're just like, well, this has been working. Why would we change it?
Yeah.
It's sort of working.
I think that's enough talking about Switch for now.
Oh my gosh! Until next week or when the Switch comes out.
Oh, we're gonna talk about the Switch on the next podcast for sure.
Maybe, hopefully, there'll
Do
be
we
more
have
news.
to?
Yeah, you might not be here, but
That's true. I probably won't be.
Yes, this is the Switch podcast. Thank you.
we're gonna switch to the next segment.
And let's talk about the exciting announcement that Square Enix made the other day.
Yeah. So, I saw on like Marvel's Twitter that they had said, "Tune in tomorrow to this special announcement we're gonna have." And I was like, "All right, it's probably a Marvel movie or something like that."
Yeah, it
they're
sounds
announcing stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And then Square Enix is like, "Tune in to this thing on this same day," and it was like I saw some people speculating, like, I bet it's connected. It's like, why would it be connected? Why?
Same day.
Square Enix and Marvel, they could make announcements the same day. Companies do it all the time. And then, bam, announcement comes out, and it's Square Enix and Marvel partnering on a multi-game partnership. To me, it just seems like a big licensing deal. Like,
Yeah.
I bet Square Enix just acquired the rights to make Marvel games, similar to how EA acquired the rights to make Star Wars games for the next some years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just similar deal.
Yeah, exclusive rights, and they had a trailer for a new game that they announced.
Trailer.
I wouldn't call that a trailer.
It was a
for
teaser.
a game.
It was a...
That was a trailer for announcing the partnership.
Well, I mean, no, specifically. So the game that they announced is a Untitled Avengers video game, and this game had a trailer teaser that is it showed visual cues to the characters that are going to be involved. It's
a good teaser.
We saw Thor's hammer. We saw something that the Hulk smashed through. Obviously, you could tell.
Oh yeah, big door.
Yeah,
it was like smashed out.
So yeah, we don't know anything about this game.
No,
we don't know if it's a co-op game, single player game. It's a MMO. We don't know anything about this game at all.
You don't even know if you're actually playing as the Avengers. I mean, you could be.
What would you be, like a third party?
No. There's
Congratulations, you
like
are
in,
Steve, the accountant.
All right,
you look
so
out
hear
your
me out.
window as Iron Man flies by.
No.
What's that? Wait,
like
hold
in,
on. What's that one thing? The visceral cleanup? Is that what it's
Yes.
called? Where you just go, like, the whole game is based on you cleaning up after first-person shooters come through and, like, murder everybody.
That
So
could be a fun game.
So, like, imagine, like, Avengers destroy everything, and you're just in charge of cleaning
Yeah,
up.
it's like a building simulator. That'd be perfect. But I mean,
I would play that, yeah.
I mean, maybe,
Marvel, listen.
there are some games where like the main characters are doing, like for movies,
Yeah.
like they'll be doing stuff, and then maybe you're like a lesser character. I mean, it's probably not going to be that, but I'm just saying, it's just like the basic teaser, so you don't know anything.
But was this too soon? Why today? Or not today, but why this, like, I think it was the end of January.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't even know. They actually announced more information 2018?
So they said multi-game partnership, and then the specific Avenger game, more information coming in 2018. So it's like a whole year until we're going to know anything more, according to them. They might just sneak something in E3, another teaser or something like that.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But that's a long time. Why now? Why not when the Avengers is, more like getting close to its release, or another Marvel big movie? It's like,
Well,
why?
yeah, because was it May? The new Guardians of the Galaxy comes out.
Yeah.
And then sometime later this year, it's another Avengers movie.
Is that
Wait.
this year?
Pretty sure. Yeah, I think part 1 comes out this year.
Does it?
But either way, yes, it'd make more sense. Avenger hype's going around,
Yeah.
new movie coming out.
Yeah.
Then.
And even then, is like, I like it when they announce a game and give me details, not here's a name and a weird teaser that just has a couple hints at some characters. Please be excited a year from now when we not even release the game, but give you more info. It's like, I'm not going to care about this game 6 months from now because it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that they announced that. Like,
Oh, yeah, you're right. So Guardians of the Galaxy comes out this May.
right. And then the other
Infinity
one
War
is
is next May.
right. So it's like, I guess they're trying to tie it in. So maybe this
That
game
makes
comes
more
out next
sense.
summer.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It connects with the
But is it
hopefully
tied to Infinity War?
We don't know anything.
Yeah, you don't know anything.
Okay, the only thing we do know about this game is that they announced that this is a partnership between Crystal Dynamics, who is famous for the most recent Tomb Raider games,
Right.
and
Eidos Montreal.
yes, which is famous for the last 2 Deus Ex games.
Yes.
And both of those games are good games.
No, they're great. They're good. They're fun single player.
Right.
They definitely brought back those those
Yeah.
franchises. Yeah.
So I think the takeaway that I'm getting from this announcement isn't the details of the game. It's just, hey, these games or this IP is going to get treatment from good studios.
Yeah.
And you look at the past, and we've had like Marvel games in the past. Like specifically, the one that sticks out in my mind is the Iron Man game that came out in 2008. And I think we looked at it was like in the 40s on the Metacritic.
Yeah, not the best.
Yeah.
42.
I think IGN gave it a 3.8. It's like, oh,
The Superman
Yeah.
64.
well, that's of Marvel.
Yeah.
So yeah, that game was terrible. There was a Hulk Ultimate Destruction game that came out. That was,
Sure.
I think that was the end of the. There was a Hulk game that was on like the Xbox, but I think there was another Hulk game on the,
there's a
the
few.
Xbox 360. But none of them are just stand out as like excellent games. And I guess the only game that a lot of people like for Marvel, besides, I mean, some people like the Wolverine game, but that was different kind of Marvel because it's like not the Disney Marvel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's X-Men.
So the only game that people really liked is
Fox.
Ultimate Alliance, I think.
Sounds familiar.
You never heard of Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
I don't think maybe.
It's like
Sure.
a top-down beat 'em up. You can choose different characters, and
I've heard of Marvel versus Capcom.
Wasn't there a Spider-Man game that people liked? I think it was a movie tie-in.
no,
Maybe.
Spider-Man 2, back on the PS2 and Xbox and
Yeah.
GameCube. Yeah, that game was amazing.
Okay.
But I mean, that was 15 years ago. No,
Okay.
probably about 13 years ago. Still, a long time ago. And but yeah, Marvel has never been like, wow, these games are good. And actually, probably not a lot of superheroes, which is so weird because it's like gaming and superheroes seem to go together so well. It's like, give me superpowers. Most of the time when I'm playing a game, I end up like superpowers. I can do slow motion and crazy stuff. And
Yeah, I mean, you're
Yeah.
the superhero of the
you're
game.
superhuman.
So,
So it's like, I'm excited to see, like, picture Tomb Raider, those kind of like environments and graphics and everything, but you're playing Marvel characters and stuff. I'm not saying just run around the jungle, but just like
Yeah.
the attention to detail, the
yeah, they had such strong single-player games.
yeah, a good narrative, a strong narrative. I think that there's a lot of potential for this. I think we kind of mentioned before, this isn't directly tied to Square Enix, but Square Enix, Eidos published the Just Cause series.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was Avalanche Studio, and it's like we can picture an Iron
That'd be
Man
sweet.
game that plays like Just Cause 3, and
Yeah.
ooh, it's like
Just Cause 3 with jetpacks.
I'd
Good.
pre-order that. if I don't pre-order a lot of games,
You
but
don't
if
pre-order like any games. Almost.
so if Marvel comes
Besides
out
Pokemon.
with an Iron Man game that is developed by Avalanche, I will buy it.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
very fun.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts on that topic?
Still pretty, nothing to really go
Yeah.
off of. So,
Yeah, but
I mean, it's exciting.
is it worth being exciting for?
A little excited.
Okay.
Just like, oh, that's cool. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's
I think
the base level of excitement.
I'm almost worried that the excitement of what I'm thinking in my mind
Right.
is higher than what it's going to be. Multi-game, that could be 2 games. Like, we don't know. I'm expecting like a brand new Spider-Man game. Well, actually, no, Spider-Man's doing. I forgot it.
Spider-Man's doing a separate one.
Insomniac. Yeah, is doing in Spider-Man. I don't know why that slipped my mind.
Well, it's gonna be. We know it's an Avenger game. It's not gonna be separate.
Well, no, they said Marvel is multi-project or multi-game thing. Our first game is Avengers, made by Square or
Okay.
Eidos Montreal and Crystal Dynamics.
So I mean, if it's an Avengers game, it's gonna have
multiple
like
characters.
the 4 main.
The
It's
ones
not
we
gonna
saw
be-
in the teaser, at least.
Yeah. Or however many.
But just to think of all the Marvel characters that are there and all the different cool games you could make. Imagine a Doctor Strange game.
That would just
I would play that game.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
it's like
potential is
Deus
there.
Ex with magic. That'd be kind of cool.
I'm just saying there's so much that they could do with those licensed characters and interconnected and I don't know. I'm just always looking for more good games.
Yeah. I mean, it's
That's
for them to fail. They have a lot to work with.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'd say that for like superhero games, the Arkham series really stepped up.
That's
Or, like,
true.
They set the bar for what a good superhero game is to me. Like Arkham Asylum is still such a good game to me. I love playing that game. But before that, I can't name a superhero game that I really like.
they're a little not always the best. They usually kind of fall short most of the times.
Yeah.
But yeah, Batman, they did a great job.
Yeah, that Catwoman game.
Catwoman movie, Catwoman game, yes.
Ugh.
They tried.
Yeah. All right. So what else we got to talk about? AMD?
Oh yeah, AMD. Yes, AMD actually, they're pulling through.
Yeah.
they're doing
Yeah,
some
is
stuff.
it 500%?
Yeah, so we looked up AMD stock, and in the last year-ish, they've about 5 times what they were worth, the stock at least, as of a year ago. So I personally don't have any AMD products in my tower.
No.
Do you?
No, it's been
You
a while.
do.
I do.
What do you have?
R9 270X.
Okay.
Classic.
So-
Isaiah does.
Yeah.
He has that Fire Pro.
So my old tower was a TI card, which of course now is AMD. But I've always had Intel processors. Everybody here is an Intel processor.
Now,
Yeah.
I did not start with one.
Yeah, but your current one does.
My current one
Yeah.
does, yes.
So it's like I think there's been a common trend in people that are building PCs, like enthusiasts and stuff, that it's Intel is what you get for a lot of people.
Yeah, they're
You
just
see
very
a lot
solid.
of pre-builts have AMD in it, and I bet that's where they get a lot of their market share from. But
Yeah, I literally switched to Intel to get a better frame rate in one of my games
Hmm.
because it was so CPU heavy.
yeah, so
Guild Wars 2.
let's talk about Ryzen a little bit. So Ryzen is the new architecture for AMD for their CPUs, and it's coming quick. It is right around the corner.
Yeah, it's supposed to release March of this year.
Yeah, so in the next month. And we know a little bit about it. We know that it's supposed to be extremely competitive towards the current line of
Yes, they're
Intel
supposed
chips.
to. Yeah, the new Skylake. They're supposed to directly compete with them.
Skylake or Kaby Lake.
Yeah, Skylake, the 7.
Is there any 7,000?
Yeah, 7,000.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're competing with the most recent architecture that was just released, what, a month or two ago?
Yeah, just within this last few months.
Yeah, so I know that they had a booth at CES that they were showing it off, and they had, I think it was Battlefield 1 running, and a couple other demos they had running. And they had the 6950K, which is just it was a 6900 series Intel
Yeah, top of line.
versus this the top of the line Ryzen, which is supposed to be, maybe it wasn't even the top of the line, but it was supposed to be like a third the price or half the price of that other Intel chip, and it was running at identical frame rates. Of course, CPU not being like the most important thing for frame rates.
Yeah, it does help, but I mean, yeah, if you're
Depending
gonna
on
get
game.
if you're gonna get the same performance out of like a third of the price,
Yeah.
then it's almost like no question.
Yeah, I'd like to see rendering performance. I'd like to see some other benchmarks,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's like I'm not.
If you're building just a gaming PC,
In the past 5 years, I'd say like I wouldn't have considered it. Now I might. If this architecture comes out and it actually has the performance for the price
Right.
and overclockability, power draw, if it has all that, I'm going to give it a look. And I think that kind of optimism of AMD having these new technologies is why we're seeing their stock price go up. And I think it's good for the industry because
it's definitely exciting.
Yeah.
I'm scared if AMD goes out and it's just Intel. It's like already you can see Intel kind of just like relaxing a little bit. Like the last 2 upgrades for their CPU lines have been kind of,
Meh.
yeah, to say the least. So
But they're still quite profitable. I think last year was actually one of their better years
Yeah.
recently, so they're definitely taking an uptick.
Well, yeah, Intel is Intel. They're doing good, but they they're successful, and it almost seems like they're not innovating as much because they're so successful. And so if AMD starts to get successful, then the race is on.
Yeah, it's almost just like
there hasn't been a race in the last 5 years.
They're just making stuff, just like they don't even need to release it. I mean, they're just like, it maybe about right now.
Yeah,
we should release something.
We're like
9
or 10 years into the I era for the Intels, the i5, i7, i3,
just
stuff
about,
like that. And
like 2009.
that's when it really started to go down for AMD, I'd say. Like, that's when Intel really took over that enthusiast market, which is like, that's a good market to be in. Like, we talked about, was it the last podcast we talked about PC gaming on the rise, or there's the one before that?
I think it was the last one.
Whichever one. Like, yeah, it's like PC gaming hardware sales are up, and
Yeah, that was the last
I don't think that's going to change. I think it's going to continue. So it'd be interesting to see where AMD goes. Hopefully they compete, and
It's definitely looking like they will.
I'm rooting for them at this point, because them doing better helps all of us and all of us consumers in terms of price and performance. So
yeah, because I mean, besides Intel, Nvidia, like the whole, everyone's always been waiting for the 1080i or Ti since the 1080 or 1080 just when it got released. And everyone thought it was like, oh, it's going to be released during CES or something. But
why? Why release it?
Yeah, I mean, if there's no other card that is getting close enough, I mean, there's no reason to stop sales of any other card. So
yeah, and looking at a console perspective, we've got the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One both have AMD, I think it's APUs in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the Switch has an NVIDIA chip, a mobile chip, but it was kind of flopped.
Yeah, because I know
PS3 was
Cell. It was
the PS3 had an NVIDIA chip, the RSX.
Oh, it did.
And I know the Wii was
the Wii U was AMD.
The Wii was
AMD.
ATI actually. It's got an ATI logo printed in the recessed in the plastic.
Did it come out before they got? Oh, okay.
I mean, that was.
Oh yeah, but yeah,
Wii was 2006. So yeah,
they went in for the clearance
for
sale.
a long time.
Going out of business.
AMD is
I bought an
definitely...
ATI card in 2009. So yeah, I mean, ATI they were doing it all the way through that 10-year decade. So.
But yeah, AMD definitely had a firm place in the consoles.
Yeah. Do we know what the Wii U uses?
Not yet.
I bet it's AMD. I'd be surprised because there was the backwards compatibility and everything in there. I bet that it's a similar chip.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah, and we're doing a live fact check here.
Yeah, I did have an AMD graphics card.
So Sony switched to AMD, and now Nintendo's going the other way.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
Well, it's definitely probably more because I don't think AMD. Well, they don't. I guess I've never actually heard of like their mobile chips. I guess. While the Tegra is definitely a more mobile friendly chip.
Yeah, it's pretty power efficient for what it does. That's the main thing.
Yeah, the battery is definitely a big problem.
Yeah, people complain about the Switch being only 3 to 6 hours battery life, but for the graphics it's putting,
yeah, I mean that's
pretty good battery.
It's not too bad.
Yeah,
I mean it's a lot better than like a Game Gear.
I can imagine worse for sure. So, yeah, Intel, AMD. I'm interested to see where it goes. I think.
No, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Hopefully it meets the expectations or it exceeds them.
Yeah. All right, and then the last thing we have to talk about today.
Ooh, a pretty big one actually.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. So, a little bit about VR. Some speculation came out from a certain website. Super Data, they put out some figures of what they expect each of the main hardware players for VR. So we're going to discuss a little bit about those numbers. So they suggest that 6.3 million VR headsets were shipped in all of 2016. So VR has been around for 20 years now.
Well, I mean, I guess you can count Game Boy. What was there? Nintendo's
Virtual Boy?
Yeah, Virtual Boy.
I mean, there was arcade games where you stick your head in it and look around and stuff.
Yeah, pretty basic VR.
Disney Quest. Did you go to Disney
No,
Quest?
I've never actually been to Disney Quest.
All right, that was my first experience with VR, and it's cool because like I could actually say I've tried VR, even if it was like a 15-year-old implementation of it, because this is like right around the turn of the millennium, and Disney Quest had VR, and they're shutting down Disney Quest in the next like 2 months, and I'm kind of sad.
I thought they already shut it down.
No, it's still open, but they're shutting it down in May, I think, and they're opening up some like NBA thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I mean, it's
you
pretty
go
old.
in there, and there's a ride. There's actually a couple VR things they have, but one of them was a Aladdin magic carpet ride, and you sit on this little seat, and you put on this like weird strappy thing that like you click these things and it like tightens down on you, and it's just like a frame of a hat basically, and then this thing lowers from the ceiling on strings because it's so heavy, and it clicks onto that, and then so you've got your goggles here, and then there's like this Donald Duck bill that's like at least a foot long, and that's and it weighs, I can't tell because the strings are on like weighted pulleys, so
Right.
it kind of assists you in looking around, but it's still like, oh, my neck hurts looking around. And you play, you're just like driving this little carpet, and you can like look left and right at the people next to you, and all the carpets have little Abu's from Aladdin, Little Monkey.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And it's like that was such a cool thing where you look
No,
around.
it sounds amazing.
But I mean, that was a long time ago. So VR has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I'd say that Oculus Rift started this current VR revolution.
Yeah, well, I mean, with their Kickstarter came out, it actually put like other companies were like, oh, maybe we should look into that.
I mean, development DK1 was it called, right? Development Kit 1.
Yeah.
For Oculus was $1,500,
Oh yeah, something like that.
and it had a
It
really
was-
low res screen.
Yeah.
And no,
It was like if you want to like cutting edge people or developers.
I believe it didn't have certain trackings either. It was
Oh, yeah, I'm
it
sure.
was just gyros, I think. So it's like that thing was expensive and not very good, but it was sold out. Like,
Yeah.
and then DK2 is when it started to get really good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and then DK3 was really cheap and really good, and then bam, consumer version. So I mean, that was like a 3-year, 4 year.
Yeah. It was like it started at Kickstarter and then
Yeah,
it finally got released.
yeah, and sells it to Facebook for what, $3 billion, something crazy.
I know, it's,
Lucky,
they definitely have
get it?
a lot more resources.
All right.
They have a lot more resources to expand on the technology and all that, so that's
Yeah.
good.
So VR has been cooking for a long time.
Yeah.
So this is the first year where 3 major players released hardware in a consumer version that you could go to a store and buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this for the customers. This is like
Yeah.
general public. This has definitely been
Yeah,
like
so
the first year you can actually get it.
so gaming, we talk a lot about, Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and PlayStation VR, but the big winner is mobile.
Yeah, Samsung Gear VR with more than half of
Way more than
yeah
half.
4.5
4.5
million.
of the 6.3 estimated.
So yeah, 2/3.
Yeah,
Something like that.
that's a
so,
lot. And to be fair, they did give away a lot with the newest Galaxy phone.
Well, I mean,
It's like you buy
it
this
was
phone,
bundled,
you're getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like people went and bought that because of that. They're like, I'm getting that phone. I'm going to get this. And then it's going in a closet.
But yeah, it was. I did try that once.
Yeah.
It was alright.
I tried it at
It's in their
a
house.
store.
Yeah, that's true.
I tried it at a store, but the demo was weird. It didn't work quite well. But I don't know.
Well, it's definitely cool that like such a large company like Samsung is actually in it, developing it, and now they're partnered with Oculus itself.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people like look down on mobile VR as like, oh, great, more mobile invading, our games. Because a lot of people think that mobile trends in gaming, a lot of the free to play stuff, and the timers and this and that is creeping into mainline gaming. But in this case, you had existing games. The gaming was big, and then mobile is creeping in and stealing some of that away. This is kind of the opposite, where you're trying to build VR, and this is just going to help because more people are trying VR,
Yeah.
Right.
and it's going to help traditional games. So I think it seemed like from far away, if you just thought about it, it would seem like it's like, oh great, mobile sucks. But in this case, it's actually no, mobile's going to push this and help core gamers with VR by making components cheaper,
Yeah.
games,
I mean,
more games to play.
The Oculus screen is made by Samsung.
Right. So, I I'm definitely curious to see where it goes in the future. If are other companies going to come out with VR for mobile? Is it a seller or is it just a gimmick for them?
Yeah, I mean, Windows has AR, but there's an opportunity for them to actually get into VR.
Yeah, but are we going to see Apple come out with a VR for their phone?
I've heard rumors about it,
rumors.
so maybe.
Is it interesting that HTC has the Vive, but they don't have a mobile for their HTC phones? It's not interesting.
Well,
I don't think so.
not so much, just because. I mean, the VR is pretty cool on like Samsung and stuff,
Yeah.
but it's still pretty, like the graphics wise, it's still pretty basic.
Yeah.
Wow, like the HTC Vive or the Oculus, it can look fantastic.
Yeah.
Like really immerse you into it.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about the cost of these systems and then their prospective sales numbers that they ended up with according to this website. So the Vive, which is $800, is the going price. It's been on sale like once or twice during Black Friday and stuff.
Yeah,
like
just
that.
like $100 off.
Yeah, it's but $7.99 if you went out today and bought it. That is its official MSRP. Oculus is $5.99 for the headset. Comes with an Xbox One controller, and then if you want the Oculus Touch, it is $199 extra. Those are. It's like we complain about those Joy-Cons.
Oh, you get two, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Still $200. It's $100 per controller. That's a lot. So that package ends up being $800.
800.
So it's the same as a
Okay,
Vive. And the PlayStation VR for the core headset is $399. And a lot of people, I would not say a lot. Some people had the PlayStation camera that is required. So they came out with that core bundle with just the headset. And then you can also use Move controllers, which were for the PlayStation 3 a long time ago. So I have one Move controller, so I wouldn't need to buy two if I wanted PlayStation VR.
Well, it's good that they're compatible.
Yeah.
With PS4.
Right. And if you wanted, they sold a launch bundle that came out for $499. But that is currently out of stock. I tried to find it. You cannot find a $499 bundle with the camera, two controllers, in the game that it comes with.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to get into here. So we had the big winner. So these are the three big players right now. I bet you're going to see a lot more in the next 2 or 3 years pop up. And I think at CES we saw several of the other hardware manufacturers. Like I think HP had one, and some other people came out with one.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
A little bit, maybe lower end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So PlayStation VR was the big winner at 750,000 units, and it's pretty hard to find. You can still find the headset, but that other one is sold out with the controllers and everything.
So would that number be higher if they made it more available?
I would say so. I think if anything sold out,
Yeah, I'd say they'd probably.
there are people that won't probably want to buy it.
Yeah, they'd probably have gotten closer to 1 million.
Yeah. I think they had a really good holiday, though. I think they released at the right time at the right price.
Mm-hmm.
So then second place, so we had PlayStation VR at 750,000. The HTC Vive was 420,000, which is a really good number for something that's double the price to me. Also, when we talk about price, we also have to factor in the system it runs on.
Right.
So PlayStation, you can go buy a PlayStation 4 for $299.
Yeah,
and it was $250 something during the holidays. Came with the game. So when you have that system and let's just say you could get the $499 headset, you're under $1,000 by a lot. You could still buy some games.
I mean, you probably bought a PS4 like what was it, 3 years ago?
Yeah. I'd say a system nowadays that could run VR well but not great is going to be around $800.
Yeah, it's yeah. When you add everything together,
plus
graphics
the
card,
headset. So if you got a Vive, that's $800. You're at $1,600.
Yeah.
Is that barrier of entry preventing core VR from growing?
I want to say yes.
Okay.
Because like the dedicated people who really wanted it, they got it.
Yeah.
But some people are like, I mean, I know a few people who want to buy it, but it's like $800. Just it's a little too much. So yeah. Yeah. Maybe like 600, 500. It's definitely more.
Yeah.
It's easier to get, but
yeah, I'm waiting for second gen VR.
yeah, Switch the Vive 2 has been
They've said some things.
Yeah.
And
Unless
new
you think
controller.
your Planet
Yeah.
Coaster
New
video.
they
everything,
had they showed off the new controller already at like some developer
Yeah.
conference they had. So yeah, Valve's working on it. Valve time though, we never know when it's gonna come out.
Yeah, maybe even
Soon.
wireless for
Yeah.
Vive 2, which is always a big thing.
Yeah, are they gonna stick with HTC?
I would assume so.
Okay, is this a good partnership? You think?
I mean, so far, I think so. Yeah, because I mean, HTC is definitely they're a good company. They're just not as successful
Yeah.
as others.
I mean, I was actually surprised to see
I've been
that
satisfied with their products that I've had.
I was surprised to see the Vive be more reviewed, like it's a higher quality product than the Oculus. I thought the Oculus was going to be the premium product,
Yeah.
but it ended up not being
For
that
when
at
it
all.
when it came out, it was definitely it's like everyone's like golden child or whatever. It's like this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's why we're here talking about
Yeah.
VR right now, and I think that's cool.
And then Steam came out with the Vive, and it was like, oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And then just they sold a little less than twice, but
Yeah.
Definitely
so
more.
I
so
think
yeah, we
the
had
only
the
thing I'm worried about
Mhm.
is when you look at Sony and Samsung, they have money that they can just throw into.
Wait, are you about to say that Valve doesn't have money?
yeah, I mean, HTC I know has been kind of
Yeah,
struggling on
HTC.
some things.
That's what it is.
But
I
Steam
don't know
definitely
if
has, or
HTC are
Valve.
going to be
Okay.
able to continue pouring money into developing the Vive and making it better and better without getting a better return
but
on
I
their
wonder
money.
how much of that development is actually HTC or if that's just manufacturing really.
Yeah, because I know Steam, like they had a bunch of like actually
Prototypes.
VR technology, and they like release it, or I thought
They released, I think it was like a software suite for development.
okay,
But
but yeah, they've been kind of working with it for a while. So
yeah, they've been doing
a
VR.
lot of development there.
But I don't think I'd be shocked to see a new partner or multiple.
That's true.
Right.
Well, there's supposed to be, I guess, more of the technology is like an open VR
'cause,
forum or whatever.
I mean, Valve in the past, their track record is multiple companies. You look at the Steam boxes.
That's true.
Yeah. And I think
They're
going
not
forward,
a manufacturer.
they've said we want to work with as many, different companies. Just we want to make a standard and then let the companies make the options.
Yeah, because I mean, you can look at Steam for instance.
Mhm.
Like they don't make all the games, or Valve. It's not just Valve games.
Mhm.
It's just like a bunch of developers just getting together,
Right.
and hopefully it's for the best.
Yep. So we had Vive at 420,000 was the estimated number in 2016. The Oculus Rift 250,000.
I mean, it's a decent number, but
It's the lowest of
yeah.
all four types of VR that you can that you can get. That surprises me honestly, because when you have the Vive at $800 and the Oculus comes out at $600, $200 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I really thought that the name of Oculus, like that was a lot of people's first experience with VR.
Right.
I thought that name would really carry it.
yeah,
But
you say VR, they're like, oh yeah, Oculus.
yeah, I think the main thing that hurt them, besides just the HTC Vive being such a good competitor, was the lack of included motion controllers.
Yeah, that was separated by like 3-4 months, something like that.
Oh,
It was more than that.
oh yeah,
Oh.
like almost a year.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
It's very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you play with the Vive, the controllers are just
It's
a lot better.
I think it's like 8 or 9 months.
That's so bad.
Yeah. Those touch controllers just came out recently, I think. But the Vive controllers came day and
Yeah.
date with the headset, and you could make games for it. And a motion head game is more compelling with motion input to me.
yes, it is a big difference.
Yeah, including an Xbox One controller was not.
Yeah, I mean it's just a stand-in,
Yeah.
pretty
So
basic.
all right, so Xbox One is in second place this gen, but a lot of people talk about it like it's in last place. But the Wii U is it's gone.
Everything's still selling.
Yeah.
They talk about Xbox in the last place, assuming that there was only 2 places.
They
Yeah,
just totally
this
forget
was
about
it. It was kind of like it felt like a two horse race. Yeah, it definitely did. But honestly, they've sold a lot of systems, especially recently. They're doing a lot better. They've won several months, and in America they're doing really well. Now, the Scorpio is on the horizon. We don't know what it's gonna be called. It's supposed to come out this year.
Yeah.
We're probably going to see a blowout on it at E3.
Yeah, if we don't, it has to be on E3.
Well, I mean, Sony didn't do it at E3. They said, we're not bringing the Project Neo to
Well, that was
E3. And then, like,
they have a
a
separate
couple months
event?
later. Yeah, it was, I think,
Okay.
in September.
Oh, that's fair, I guess. They could have their own separate event.
Yeah. So I think they'll do E3. I'd almost hope they do E3. If they
Makes it easier.
like, Sony didn't talk about theirs at E3 and then released it a few months later. Microsoft talked about it at E3 and they're like, this is coming way later. It's like, I think they're going to actually talk about it
Yeah,
at
I mean,
E3.
they brought it up at
Yeah.
E3.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring this up, Microsoft and the Scorpio, because there's been rumors and some PR talk about potential VR support, mainly from probably Oculus.
Probably.
Yeah. And so we're seeing this partnership because they did that with the launch of the headset. You had the Oculus for $599 included with a Xbox One controller.
Right.
So it's like, will we see Oculus games? Because there are Oculus exclusive games. Will they be on Xbox too?
Well, they should. If they're actually going to provide support for the Oculus on the Xbox.
Yeah.
There needs to be games there.
Because at this point, the Scorpio sounded way more powerful than the PS4 Pro ended up being.
Right.
Yeah.
At least like almost 2 teraflops stronger, which would be like, what's that? Like 33% stronger or 40% stronger. So it's stronger. It's not just the
4 to
hair.
6, it's 50%.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the Xbox 2, pretty
It's
much.
it's about the teraflops that we see from the GPUs that are recommended by Oculus and Vive to run these games. So we're gonna not see a gimped version of VR. Is that an exciting thing? Is that gonna help VR besides PlayStation? Is that gonna help Oculus overtake HTC Vive? It being able to be played on cheaper hardware. Estimated price right now for the Scorpio, I would say, is $499.
Yeah, pretty standard.
Which is going to be a lot less than buying a computer that can run the
Even a
Vive.
year from now, when the Scorpio comes out,
Yeah.
it's probably going to be, you're probably going to spend about $600 to get the equivalent GPU in a desktop tower with the tower and everything.
Well, it should be good overall, just because they're going to bring more people to it.
Yeah.
Which brings more developers, which bring more games.
Yeah.
And more games is always better.
Yes, because I mean that's definitely one thing about VR.
Do you think that the exclusive Oculus games hurt them to the point, or was it just the hardware and the price,
I think it's just. Oh, I don't think
or the controllers?
it hurt them like in sales wise.
Because there is an
Exclusive
Oculus
games?
store that
Yeah.
you can buy games on that you cannot play with an HTC Vive.
Yeah,
But I don't think there's ones the other way that are locked in, except for the developer saying, "Oh, we don't support that."
I think it's more the lack of the controllers that hurt them the most.
Yeah, I would say that too. Yeah. It's really surprising though, because they're so close in quality of the screens and components and stuff. A lot of people say the HTC Vive is a little crisper, but $200 difference. I thought that would really.
Yeah, you'd think because it's like $200.
Yeah, if you look at most console like wars, the cheapest console is almost always the bestseller. Not always, but you look at like the Wii.
Does help.
We sold twice what the other ones did in the first couple of years.
Oh yeah.
And you had the
PlayStation did terrible.
The Xbox One. Actually, no, it was the cheapest one. Yeah, the PlayStation 4 was cheaper than
it was like $100
the Xbox
cheaper.
One. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, if you really don't have like some fanboy thing and it's just price, you're like, save $100.
yeah. So VR is it going forward? Is it gonna phase out? Is this the next thing in gaming, or is it just a fad?
Well, I think it's not a fad. Yeah. I personally think, as like I've actually used this HTC Vive, and it's really fun. You're really immersed into it. I mean, there are some kind of like games that kind of buggy, but there's some solid games.
Yeah.
Just like what is it, like accounting? It's just like a funny game. It's more of like a story kind of game. It's more story than game, but it's really fun. And just like a simple like planet domination game. Yeah. I mean, It's expensive, but it's just so fun.
Yep. What do you think?
I think it's just a fad.
Okay.
Dang.
I don't think that in the long run they're going to be able to manufacture it cheap enough where if you go into the average American household, it's going to be there.
Okay.
Like, if you go to the average American household, there is a console. Doesn't matter which one. It's just video games are there and it's in the console format. I don't think that they can get VR to be that way.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it needs to be in every household to be successful, but I think it'll definitely be a large audience.
Yeah. I think that it's mainly price, and it's mainly price that's holding most people back. I think that the PlayStation shows that. It's like the experiences are there, the games are there, there's not even just games, but like literal experiences, just things you like, just information coming at you, you know, and you're experiencing something in a new way. But those are there, and we're seeing new stuff all the time, but the cheapest one sells the most.
Yep.
And so I think that once that price comes down and get rid of the wires, make it wireless, there's a bunch that can be done, and technology is crazy of how quickly it matures. So I wouldn't be surprised if... I think it's going to be a slow growth. I don't think this is going to blow up anytime soon, but I think it's not going away. I don't think we'll see a decline of VR in the next 5 years.
I think it'll just be pretty linear, just keep going up and up.
I think the next-gen consoles, PS5 and Xbox 2 or whatever they're going to call that thing, I think that that you will see a VR day and date with that system. Okay. Even if Xbox does it with a partner like Oculus.
Yeah, it'd be good if they actually did sell a bundle.
Yeah. And console VR helps PC VR.
Yes, no
Just
doubt.
like mobile VR helps all VR. Like, any type of VR is pushing that medium forward. So I think that's exciting.
Yeah, you know, baby steps. You start with Samsung VR, and you're like, oh, that's really fun. Maybe you try out Oculus somewhere. Yeah.
All right.
Excellent.
All right. Well,
Good stuff.
We thank you for joining us. This was our podcast for this week or 2 week period, whatever. So
whenever we find more things to talk about.
Yeah. You know
hopefully
where to find
be
us.
more regularly.
Yeah. So we have this on our YouTube page, and we also have audio podcasts.
Yeah, straight audio on iTunes, Google Play Music, whatever your favorite podcast app
Working
is.
on some others, right?
Yeah, there's always more out there.
Yeah. We're also on Twitch at twitch.tv/teamfov. You can find us there streaming all sorts of different games.
Yep.
Multiplayer games, single player games, old games, new games. You never know. So catch us there, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
All right.